Hi there folks, welcome back to Rich Reviews. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday and I count down to the last set of films I want to review for you guys here now on this channel. The next one here happens to be Being the Ricardos, written and directed by Aaron Sorkin. And when we first heard about this project, we were all thinking, okay, who is the actress that wants to take on the legendary career that is Lucille Ball? Originally it was Cate Blanchett, but then due to COVID, Cate Blanchett dropped out, and then obviously Nicole Kidman came on board. And this sort of tells a week in the production of an I Love Lucy episode, and this also sort of flashes back and flashes forward, partially for the fact it flashes back to the early years of when Lucy met Desi Arnaz and how she was a contract player for RKO, and how her career sort of declined, and then how she got her start in radio, and conceivably how that she went about making the I Love Lucy show with Desi Arnaz, and how Desi came to America. He wanted to escape the communist revolution, and how basically the film's dramatic moments here don't necessarily work, but hey look, that's required of a film that expects to create dramatic moments. One has to wonder, okay, how is Nicole Kidman as Lucille Ball? Let me just state that I think she gets the voice down relatively right, and I guess that everyone from 50s to onward, and I saw a whole bunch of I Love Lucy episodes in the 90s. They were on TV Land, along with the Munsters and a couple of other shows from the 50s or the 80s, and yes, that's when TV Land actually was on Nickelodeon, and actually was a time where TV Land didn't do original programming. Because remember when cable channels just showed you old reruns of TV shows? Yes, that actually was the case, and basically it do go compresses the time schedule of certain things that did happen during the original show's run, when obviously Lucille Ball got pregnant and they wanted to incorporate that on the show, and obviously how Lucille Ball was accused as a communist. Man, they don't manage to say that, oh yeah, that took place earlier on, and how, let's face it, again, that didn't impact the show. How do I feel about Javier Bardem doing Desi Arnaz? I think he's better at being Desi Arnaz than Nicole Kidman is being, Lucille Ball, although that's not necessarily an unfair comparison, because Nicole Kidman's taking on a much more greater important character or real life person. Obviously the kids here have signed off, and clearly what they saw clearly impressed them enough to be signed off. Ali Skockwat as a writer, and then obviously the flash forward material here involves sort of a documentary-esque thing of these writers, now older, saying how important the show was. And obviously we do get a lot of Aaron Sorkinisms about walking and talking and going from one room to another. There is some anachronistic language, like say showrunner and gaslighting, which I don't think they used back then, nor would I think they would even use back then. Obviously, J.K. Simmons is William Frawley, who in real life could not stand Vivian Vance. Vivian Vance, at least at one point, obviously did want to direct some episodes, or at least wanted to have a stature equal to, Lucille Ball. Overall, I think this is about as best you can do, given. And if you wanted to make a dark film about Lucille Ball, I would be all for that. Comedy, obviously there's one moment where she sucks on grapes, but then there's also at least some scenes that I think to myself, this probably didn't happen in real life. I mean, there's obviously one scene at the very end involving a real character in a phone call that I found myself thinking, this is akin to when Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill went down in the subway in Darkest Hour. That scene was bullshit. This scene here is bullshit. How do you run a show from the first day of the week into showtime? That actually is quite fascinating. So, in the end, folks, what I'm going to say about Being the Ricardos, I am easily enough going to give this a matinee rating, because I think everyone should see this and see how history plays out the way we all expect it to play out. So folks, Being the Ricardos, have you seen this? What did you think? Please put everything in the comment box below here, folks. As always, folks, like, comment, subscribe, Enrich yourself with knowledge. I'm at Michael Rich at Riches2 on Twitter. I'll see you next time, folks. Yes, hooray.